We'll start with the Red Revival, hashtag 2024. The 5-year plan to revive Cork football as GAA chiefs admit we've lost our Corkness. But what, like, do you like the fact that Cork have their Corkness?
Yes, of course. I like it now. I hate it when they're winning. It's the very thing that adds spice to a rivalry, isn't it? The fact that somebody brings a uniqueness to it, an edge to it, and rubbing your face in it when they win.
Yeah.
That creates I wouldn't say hatred, but yeah, no, I would say it creates a hatred towards Cork when they beat you, and that creates a rivalry, and rivalries are good, and rivalries keep you interested and keep you coming back and looking forward to next summer.
Is that your definition of Corkness? They rub your face in it?
I would say there is, in their pomp, there is an arrogant swagger to them. I would say at its worst, there is an attitude of defeatism before it's actually the time to get defeatist. As in, the way they crumbled against Kerry last year when things started to go against them was I'm not sure how to describe it. I'm not sure, is that indicative of Corkness, or is that actually the very antithesis of Corkness?
It seems like the antithesis. You're saying they're flaky.
Extremely. Like, they scored an early goal in that game last year in their own home ground. I think it was the first time they played Kerry in the new Parky Queeve.
Scored 2 early goals?
2 early goals. God, I feel like it's such a speck of irrelevance at this point that I can't even remember.
I think they did. They scored 2 easy goals.
Yeah, they did. Sorry, they went down the left wing.
Yeah.
So, like, and then after Kerry kind of hit back, it was just kind of like, oh, well, this is us done now. And there was no sort of fight back again. And I think that was the thing that must have disappointed most Cork people, was the attitude in that game.
Leinster and Galway face showdown over finance. So, Provincial Council insists tribesmen enjoy same deal as other counties from round robin. Senior officials from the Leinster Council and the Galway County border to meet later this month in an effort to sort out financial differences which have arisen over the Senior Hurling Championship. So, the whole idea of Galway playing in Leinster and there being an even share of money. There are 9 photographs beside that. Gone for a Burton. Ruthless City hit 9, and it's only the first leg. De Bruyne, Jesus, Zinchenko, Jesus, Foden, Jesus, Walker, Mahrez. 9.
Daniel Harris is on Monday morning saying the real magic of the Cup is when a monster absolutely destroys a minion, when they think that there might be some Cup magic. And last night proved that again. Like, for every moment of happiness we get from the grotesque of capitalism in football, we have to pay our debts by watching something like this, by watching a minnow get absolutely destroyed by a behemoth like Manchester City. And they didn't care, they were so cold about it. Like Zinchenko, when he accidentally crossed the ball into the top corner, was kind of embarrassed at first. And I was like, oh, fair play to him, he's not going to celebrate. And then a moment later, he did like a basketball jump shot to celebrate. And I was like, that's even worse. To not celebrate and then decide, actually, nah, I am going to celebrate after putting us up 4-0 with an accidental goal.
Tipperary goalkeeper Hogan refused permission to speak about Premier. So Michael Verney has the story. There was a bizarre scenario yesterday when Tip hurling goalkeeper Brian Hogan was up for media interviews but was not permitted to speak about Tipperary by team management. So the say nothing brigade are out early this year. Atletico loan for Morata as Blues prepare 50 million Wilson bid. So CAD, the transfer merry-go-round, is up and running. Miguel Delaney has that story from the Independent saying that Alvaro Morata is likely to go to Atletico Madrid. The Times Ireland edition, 9-0, that's it, simple headline. Manchester City run riot in the semi-final. There's still the second leg to come. In retrospect, saying that he wasn't going to show any of the footage or analysis of Manchester City to his players by Nigel Clough for Burton Albion didn't really work out. Maybe just do a little bit of homework. I understand that, famously your dad would have been like, name the team 2 minutes before they're due to go out and not worry about them. We'll get the ball down, we'll do our own thing. But, he had good players in his team.
It's not like Burton Albion went out on the pitch last night and were like, oh my God, it's Gabriel Jesus, and they've got De Bruyne and David Silva. What a dream team. Why didn't our manager tell us about this incredible team? I'm sure they're aware of Manchester City.
Yeah, but like a little bit of, he likes to do this. You might stop that. Sometimes we could squeeze a bit here.
I'm not going to lie, a little bit of my heart broke last night seeing that result because, of course, I was a very successful Burton Albion manager myself in Football Manager 2012. Right. I've spoken about it extensively on the show before.
I've always tuned out. So what happened?
Qualified for the Champions League in 2015.
I've already tuned out again. The other story here is Ultan Dillane. Good news, more good news for Connacht. So Ultan Dillane has committed until 2021. He's only 25 still. And Dillane, when he was playing with the Ireland team, you really felt like he was about to be one of those players who burst forward and would make it sooner rather than later. But he's a second row. Like, there's no reason why he can't have a proper coming to the full peak of his powers around the age of 28. So, like, sometimes we just need to be patient with these players who make it early and don't always immediately follow that up straight away.
Definitely, and it does seem that 2020-2021 is going to be a pivotal season for the players on that rung in the ladder, who, barring an incredible run of form now or an incredible loss of luck when it comes to the first choice second rows in the Ireland squad, is not going to be on the plane to Japan. And therefore he's obviously going to be playing week in, week out while Ireland are playing in Japan. He'll be hitting the ground running when it comes to the pivotal European fixtures at the end of the year. Hopefully, from a Connacht perspective, they could be in the Champions Cup. And then suddenly this time next year, he could be in the shop window for the Six Nations in 2020. So I think it's a big season for him next year. You do get the sense there's not too much you can do for this year's World Cup.
No, exactly. So the Racing Post, Sam Crowe, a big doubt for festival after lung infection diagnosis. This is bad news for Sam Crowe. It's been described as a very doubtful runner for the Cheltenham Festival in March after a deep-seated lung infection was discovered in tests taken from the 7-year-old following the Town defeat in the Ryanair hurdle at Leopardstown on the 29th of December. I think there's a general consensus that something must have been up with Sam Crowe given the performance. And Jesus hits 4 as Burton endure a demolition job. Good picture as well. In the 90th minute, 9-0, 9D. And then Spurs fear they will not play in new stadium until March. Neil Warnock is getting his way. Everybody else is going to have to play Spurs at Wembley instead of in their bedding in period at the new White Hart Lane. It looks nice. It looks like it's going to be a nice stadium.
Yeah, as in it's probably the best new stadium we've seen in the Premier League. Like you think about all Etihad, Emirates, even at their time, they were fairly futuristic, but this one is kind of like a level above. It seems that they've kind of done it right.
Yeah.
The wait is going to be worth it from a Tottenham perspective.
The Olympic Stadium wasn't a great, is not a great.
That was probably the most underwhelming new addition to the Premier League.
I've been there for a rugby match. I still haven't been there for a football match, but yeah. Interesting piece from Dave Hannigan about Tom Brady and how he's defying Father Time, although not actually anymore. And Alex Guerrero just kind of lays out the full details of Guerrero's past as a snake oil salesman, effectively, who got was claiming he was a doctor but isn't. And
is he still working with Brady?
Oh yeah, with Brady and Gronk and Edelman and.
So he's actually got more in his stable now than he did 12 months ago?
I think they were all part of it. Certainly Julian Edelman was part of. So Edelman had an ACL last season and missed it, and went to Guerrero, and in the off-season got popped for some unknown PED and missed the first 4 games of this season. There's no link, obviously, between Guerrero and the PED, and certainly nobody has established that link. But Tom Brady was very touchy about that question when he was asked, like, what happened there? Isn't he working with your guy? He was like, oh, this is bullshit, and walked off in the press conference. So when it's all laid out like that, it's like, here's the thing, American fans don't care. They don't care. They just want to see Tom Brady out there.
And has he gone off the cliff?
Yeah, no, like he's a middle...
He has not a good season.
Well, no, but he's a middle-tier quarterback now, as opposed to so last season he was the MVP. So anything off, anything off, you know.
The Herald this morning go with City on cloud 9 as Jesus strikes for 4, and you've also got that Spurs to stay at Wembley until March story. The back page of the Irish Daily Mail is 9-0 and it's only half time. While Galway lost mental battle, says Treaty's Flanagan. That's Seamus Flanagan, Limerick's All-Ireland winner, who was in front of the media yesterday saying that Galway lost the mental battle in last year's All-Ireland final. The Sun then goes with 9-0 and there's still 90 minutes to go. And we've also got the story here. Rice won for Pep. Champions turn to Declan. We'll be speaking about that again later on in the show. The back page of the Irish Daily Star is ruthless. 4 for Jesus in Burton battering. While Rashford is my main man, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And Chelsea are not happy with Bayern Munich. Blues fury at Bayern. They're ready to report Bayern Munich to FIFA in a tap-up row over Callum Hudson-Odoi. The German Giants bidding €39 million for him recently. Back page of the Mirror is Pep on cloud 9. And Kevin Kilbane quoted, "Old King Cole, Seamus has to modify his game to stay at the top level," says the off-the-ball pundit. And the back page of The Guardian, finally, is 9-0. Sweet Jesus puts City on cloud 9. Brazilian striker scores 4. And drawing the line in rugby, literally, action on high tackles could include a mark on jerseys. This is a story by Robert Kitson saying that English rugby's leading players and administrators want stricter penalties for high tackles. And also the idea of a visible line being printed on jerseys is among the ideas being considered to try to reduce the game's worrying attrition rate.
We should talk a little bit about whether or not Rice is actually the right player for Man City. Is that like, I mean, we're obviously thinking about it. Oh, this is what the impact it might have on us. But is he the right player for Man City at the moment? Is he Fernandinho, or is he actually a centre back who has just to develop into a centre-back.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the discourse over the last 2 weeks has certainly been towards Declan Rice as a ball-playing centre-back. That if you wanted him to be a successor to anybody at Manchester City, if you just put age out of the window for a moment, is actually John Stones. They have been the comparisons made over the past couple of weeks, especially in the British media. I think over here we're all like he's a central midfielder or a deep-lying midfielder, whatever it may be, just because from an Irish perspective we need our best players involved in a more prominent position. But certainly over there, the school of thought seems to be that he's a John Stones type ball-playing centre-back. So does that mean that
Pep Guardiola's season was a Fernandinho, though? Is that?
We don't know. We like the reports this morning are that he sees him as a successor to Fernandinho. It's quite easy for Manchester City to be linked to Declan Rice, for that story to get out, and then for newspapers to put 2 and 2 together and say, well, Fernandinho's 34, he must be seen as a successor to him. Unless Pep Guardiola is looking at his backline options and thinking, we just need to stock up with ball-playing centre-backs, and I can make Declan Rice.
Can he play with John Stones?
I don't think he can play with. I'm not sure he can play with him.
Why not?
Maybe he can. Like we're very quick to say, you know, when it comes to striking partnerships or to centre-back partnerships, you need a little large. You need chalk and cheese.
Yeah, and balls.
What is Manchester City's first choice centre-back partnership at the moment? It's Laporte and Stones, really. How dissimilar are they?
The company plays a lot.
He does, but I would...
The big games.
Put a gun to Pep Guardiola's head, and he's got to pick... Say Benjamin Mendy is fit. He's got Mendy and Kyle Walker starting. Who does he pick at centre-half? And I would say it's going to be Laporte and Stones.
It's only next season, I would assume that would be... At the moment, I don't know. Anyway, it's a debate, right? It's not fully clear. But then, so Declan Rice is not going to break that partnership up next season, is he?
Don't think so. I don't think so. The thing is, they've got such an absurd amount of money to spend that could Declan Rice be seen as bench fodder for Pep Guardiola? Potentially. And you know what, maybe he sees him as a little bit more than that. Maybe he sees himself reverting to, you know, a back three and pushing Kyle Walker and Benjamin Mendy up a little bit further up the pitch.
John Walters was on after he did the commentary of the game between Liverpool and City with Nathan on Newstalk, and afterwards was talking about, you know, where he would see him fitting in, and he made the point that he does all the work that Fernandinho does there. If I was one of the big clubs, although he's signing a new contract, he's one player I'd be looking at. The whole point of signing a new contract is so that Man City, or so that West Ham get value for him. So they're absolutely happy to sell if the price is right. That's the whole way that West Ham have always done business. So maybe the thing to do is for Ireland just to wait until he moves to one of the bigger clubs who don't care what international team he plays for, because
Mick McCarthy should pick up the phone to Pep Guardiola if he moves to Manchester City and say to him, listen, we don't qualify for tournaments much. This guy on every even year is going to come back in August.
Yeah, refreshed.
Fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
So could you just have a word with him?
Yeah, and also, appeal to his Catalan. We'll get him to wear a yellow ribbon.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Mick McCarthy.
We're not the imperial power in this, Pep.
Send Mick McCarthy over on a one-man convoy wearing a yellow ribbon. Bring, just be casually reading a book about Catalan independence. And, oh, hey, Pep, good to see you here in the hotel lobby.
Oh, yeah, no, I speak a bit of Catalan.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Did it in my spare time there.
Teaching Declan a little bit of Catalan as well. And that education can continue if you just push him in the correct direction there, Pep.